Hello everyone, I'm Rick Zanotti with Tech Down Over, and today we're going to talk about this, the Canon M5. It's been around for about 8 months, and it's a great camera. It's fun. You know, it doesn't have 4K, so if you're looking for 4K, this ain't it. But it does very good 1080p at 60 frames a second, which is not bad. aps-c sensor, 24.1, I think, megapixels, 24.3 megapixels. Very nice. It's got the 35 millimeter on it right now, and I enjoy this. I take this on trips. It's a great vacation camera. It's a good second for other cameras you may be using. It's not the best video camera in terms of features, but it takes pretty good video. So what we're going to do is show you 7 different lenses on the Canon M5 and show you how they look after this. Here's our intro. And we are back. So we're going to load up our 7 videos and show you what this looks like. So here, it's about a minute per lens, give or take. Here we go.
You're now watching the 35 millimeter Canon lens. This is an f2.0 lens. It is a really nice video lens. We are right now in face tracking mode. So as I move around, it should be tracking face. If I turn around and come back, it should be tracking the face. So this is, again, the Canon 35 millimeter f2.0 USM. This is the ultrasonic motor. Ultrasonic, hypersonic, sonic, stepping motor. They've all got some sort of hyper, ultra, supersonic. Sonic burgers are pretty good, but that's not for this. All right. Anyway, so that's it on this lens, 35 millimeter f2.0. Very good video lens from Canon. Now you're watching the Canon 40 millimeter pancake lens. This is an f2.8 lens. I always think of breakfast when I put this lens on. Pancakes. Sounds good. Anyway, this is what it looks like as I move around a little bit. It should be doing face tracking. It will move. It will slightly blur. It hunts a bit. But on the whole, it does a pretty good job. So the Canon 40 millimeter pancake, this is an EF lens, so it's for full frame cameras, but it works on this in a crop, is an f2.8 lens. So it's not as bright as the one we had before, which was the 35 millimeter, but it's still a pretty bright lens in terms of giving you good light and good speed in what you're doing. It's a sharp lens, and I think it only has 2 or 3 elements. The good old days, not that many elements, and you don't need 100 elements to make it look good. It's a very sharp lens. It's clear in outdoors or indoor situations. We are indoors right now, a little bit on the darker side, though we've got enough light on us. And that's what this particular lens looks like. Canon 40 millimeter pancake f2.8. Now you're looking at the other 50 millimeter lens that we have, and this is the Canon 50 millimeter f1.4, very bright USM lens, ultrasonic motor. So a lot of people compare this lens, the USM, the ultrasonic, to the 50 millimeter f1.8, not as fast, STM, or stepping motor. STM is the later technology that Canon's using mostly on video lenses. This one has an f1.4. I have noticed on the M5 that this lens is a little blurrier in fast motion. It doesn't track quite as quickly as some of the other ones. For example, as I move around, it may or may not track as fast. It's not bad. We're in a stationary position. We're not moving around a lot. The camera's not handheld. It might track better. But I have had some issues with handheld shots where this didn't quite always keep up. And I'm not sure if it was, I have 2 of these, and it works pretty well. But anyway, this again is the Canon 50 millimeter. Notice how close it is. We haven't changed our position from any of the other cameras. it's pretty tight. 50 millimeters at about 6, maybe 7 feet is close. Usually you're probably about 8 or 9 feet on this one, so you're not right on a person. This is a good portrait lens, but you can also shoot a lot of action with it. Pretty much anything. It is a sharp lens, doesn't have a ton of elements, it's clean. The Canon 50mm f1.4 USM lens. And now you're watching one of the most popular and sold lenses in the world. This is the Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8 aps-c sensor lens. You can use this on a full frame camera, but it won't look that good. It's going to cause weird aberrations. It's not built for it. It is built for an aps-c sensor, and it will do a very good job. We are currently at the 35mm shot, so you can compare this sort of to the Canon 35mm f2.0. They're not that far apart in terms of ISO, I should say, of brightness. Our ISO on this one went down quite a bit. I think we're at 320 right now ISO. On some of the bigger zooms where we had f4.0s, we were almost at 12 or 1600. So it just depends on each lens, how bright they are and how much you want to do. This one we brought down from 1000 to 320, and our shutter speed is 1/60th of a second, and we're filming at 130, actually at 30 frames, or 29.97 frames per second. So that's right for this type of shoot. So again, if I move around and come back into it and turn, should be focusing me pretty quickly. So this is the Canon 18 to 35mm zoom lens. In fact, let me show you what it looks like at 18. If you want to zoom it back into 18, are we there? Okay, so we are now at the 18mm, so you can tell it's pretty wide. It gives you a lot more realistic. Let's go back up to the 35mm. And this is where we normally would be shooting if we're trying to get anything a little bit further away. So again, the Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8. This is not an art lens, but boy, it's a great lens. Now you're watching the Sigma 24 to 105. This is an f4.0 lens, so it's not that bright like the ones we've been looking at, but it's a great all-around zoom lens. Now this was made very popular by Canon, and Sigma basically took it and made it a little bit better. There is a 24 to 105 that's a Mark II that Canon has, but this still is probably better than the Mark II version. It's a nice lens. It's got a good focus capability. It's got nice micro focus. It's not a bright lens. At 4.0, it's not the brightest lens out there, but it is a sharp lens, and it's very good in many different kind of situations. Weddings, events, very commonly seen around there. It's a big lens. It's heavy. It's probably about 2.5 pounds, but it's a really clean lens in terms of what it does. I am on face tracking, and it should be tracking me as I'm moving. So this is the Sigma 24 to 105mm f4.0 lens. Very good all-around zoom. Now you're watching the Sigma 50mm f1.4 art lens. This is one of my favorite lenses. It is beautiful. It's big. It weighs more than the camera probably, which is sort of funny because the M5 is not that heavy a camera. The lens is probably 2.5 pounds. Camera's probably under 2.5 pounds. So here we have a case where lens big, camera not so big. But the 50mm is a wonderful light eater. At f1.4, it eats light for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is gorgeous. The clarity, the micro contrast, it's just a beautiful lens. It has a lot of elements, but even still, it's absolutely beautiful in the way it works and the way it shoots pictures. Now, I'm pretty close on this lens. I haven't moved my position. The camera is exactly where it was, but now I'm in scared little kid mode because we're so close. It's scary. I should rent a model for these things, shouldn't I? It'd be probably a lot less scary. Anyway, Canon F1.4, Canon Sigma F1.4. I love this. We do have actually the Canon F1.4, which we're going to have on later, but for today, this is the Sigma one. Not a cheap lens. I think it's about $1,000, maybe more. But boy, it's a clean lens. It shoots beautifully. As I move around, I am in tracking mode. It should be tracking me pretty cleanly as I go from one place to another. And that's it. Sigma F1.4 art lens, 50mm. Now you're watching the Tamron 85mm f1.8. Fairly bright lens. It's got vibration control or optical image stabilization. Beautiful lens on a Canon. Can do video, can do any kind of photography with it. It's a great lens. On the M5 it works really well. I'm going to move around a little bit. I know I'm fairly close, even though we're about probably 11-12 feet away from the camera. And I can turn and come back. So this is, again, a great lens. The Tamron 85mm f1.8. This is a very good portrait lens. It's a good landscaping kind of lens. You know, these smaller zooms, without being a zoom, are really nice cameras, lenses. They do a great job. So again, the Canon M5 and the Tamron 85mm f1.8.
Done. And we are back. So that was it. 7 lenses on the Canon EOS M5. If you have any questions or any feedback on this, we'd love to hear from you. Put your notes in the comments below. Let us know, and we'll get back with you with any feedback, questions, answers, whatever you're looking for. Anyway, I'm Rick Zanotti again with Tech Down Over. Hope you found this interesting. We will see you tomorrow on a show with our co-host and good friend Jeff Blanchard. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.